You are listening to Processing Trauma Out Loud, conversations about trauma and healing from two women who are doing the work.
Hey everyone, this is Kandace and Sher with Processing Trauma Out Loud, showing up today with part 4 on a little summer series we're doing called A Summer Chat. Sher and I have both shared where we're at in our journey right now with healing from complex childhood trauma, being year 5 of when we met through our story group and we were working with our individual coaches. And so if you go back and listen to the last 2 episodes, you're going to hear more particularities on things that I've seen shift in my life, and you'll hear things that Sher has seen shift in her life. But where I want to go today, Sher, if you're agreeable, because we didn't really plan any of this, we're just showing up and having a chat. I wonder if you can, or we can together, name a few reasons why. Let's just say that someone is hearing this and they're maybe curious, maybe feeling some resistance, maybe feel like they're too far gone. They just have a lot of emotions around the idea of getting help through, specifically, I'm going to say story work. Like what would it mean for them? Like, what would that experience be like to let's just say that they're going to have a consultation. What will that look like?
What does a consultation look like?
Yeah, like if they just want to say, look, okay, so a lot of these coaches, you and I both offer free consultations.
Yep.
We know other people who do. What would that look like?
Yeah, I'll just say that I think for coaching in general, it's very much about what do you need it to be about today? The consultation is really, it's the invitation for you, for the person to come and just make the phone call, have the conversation and just say, where are you at? What are you needing?
Mm-hmm.
And how can we meet you there in a way that feels safe, that feels like something that you can do, and that would move you in the direction that you want to go. Because I don't come with an agenda. I don't have a set program that I'm going to go through with people. And so for me, the most important thing is to let people know you're safe here. I'm not going to push you anywhere that you do not want to go. Now, will I have curiosity about some things? Will I ask probing questions? Yes, I will. But you always get the chance to say, I want to go here, or I'm not ready to go there yet, or whatever that case may be. So I think story work is a place where everyone that I know experiences a lot of sense of being seen in a way that they've never been seen before. So I think
That's a good way to say that.
Yeah, that is one of the things that I will say that I think is probably the most impacting, even in the consultation. I want to see people well. And I remember when I did my first consultation with Lori Proctor for our story group, I was really scared about joining a story group. But even in the consultation, I felt seen in a way that drew me in. Yeah. Those are some thoughts. I don't know. What about you, Kandace?
I love those thoughts about being seen really well. I know for me, I think a lot through the lens of attachment and getting a feel for if someone, not that you can always tell right away, but typically it can be someone that maybe is more avoidant in their attachment wounding, where I know that my care for them will look like helping them feel safe and drawing things out that they have historically felt didn't matter, or maybe it's just so buried and so deep. And the fear there is, if I share this, I could be rejected. So kind of getting a feel for, okay, is this a situation where I move in slowly to help draw things out, and as they feel safe in increments, they share more and more? Or it could be someone that is more anxiously attached, and sometimes that can look like somebody talking for 25 of the 30 minutes of our pre-consultation call. And so I'm getting a feel for this person feeling like I need to be heard. I need to share these things. There's kind of can be a franticness to it even. I have so much compassion for both. I lean more towards anxious. I know I could easily talk 29 out of the 30 minutes. And so from that, it helps me get an idea because sometimes they don't know what they need. We didn't actually know what we need, maybe some level, and our coach can kind of help us identify that. But I can have some level of, oh, this probably what we're looking at here is some containment that you're not too much. I actually want to hear what you have to say. You don't have to, like, I'm not going to say this directly, but it's going to be more their experience. I'm not going to try to shut you down. I want to help maybe direct you at times or lead you. But usually, anxiously attached people have such a deep fear that if they're not understood, somebody's going to abandon them.
Right. I'm thinking about when if we need to edit this out, we can. But when I had my consultation with Lori the first time for Story Group, I told her the worst things about myself, the very worst. I told her the worst stories. And I remember toward the end of our time, and she asked me what it was that caused me to want to talk about that. And I had to ponder for a little minute, and I was like, I think I said something to the effect of, I want you to know the worst thing about me, because if I'm too much, or if you're not, if you can't handle it, I think that's what I said. You can't handle it, like, I want to know right now.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
she said to me, yeah, I'm laughing, but oh my goodness, it was and she said to me what she has said to me so many times through the years when I've been hesitant to share a story. She has said, I can contain your story, which has been so important to me. And I think it is to our so many people, like, we're afraid that our story is too much.
Yeah. And how that presents will look differently according to what attachment wound that we're kind of living from in that moment. It's interesting. I have experience with maybe somebody giving a referral. Okay. And then maybe showing up and, like, they know they want to be there. And sometimes not even sure why they're there. But there's usually presenting problems. Like you're not going to hire someone and pay money, if you have no idea, like, there's areas that I want help in. But I think the beauty of, like, I don't know, I'm just feeling those who are more avoidant and maybe making a movement towards getting help, that you're not going to be found fundamentally flawed, or you're going to be rejected. If you can hold on to that, we all, to varying degrees, need someone to see us and help guide us in certain ways. We actually can't see our own selves very well.
No.
If maybe you identify with more avoidant, it's understanding that you're not going to be, like you said, no one's going to force you into anything. It will be an invitation as you feel safe and ready to share. And I will tell you, some of the people that I've worked with, and that as they, each session feel more safe and share more, like, being able to get in touch with that grief and name how much they were missed as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grief and shame for other things too, I'm sure, but the grief of being missed, the shame of believing that it was all my fault.
Yeah. That's a huge one. I mean, children do. I mean, it's the way we stay in control.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, if we believe it's our fault, then we believe that we can fix it. And every child is different. We will try to do that for years and years.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we'll give up and go very avoidant. Yeah, it's just different for everyone. And, what I want to say is, like, 5 years down the road for you and me, we had that first consultation call.
Yeah.
When I look back, I think I probably talked 29 of the 30 minutes. And my coach saw me.
Yeah.
I was drawn into, like, she didn't even have to say much. And that's what I want to say. Our presence,
Mm.
like, just our presence, has resonance.
Oh, yeah. Just to hear that no words, but just that expression of, like, oh, when somebody shares something, painful, it's like sometimes there aren't even words, but to just be able to say,
Yeah.
and then that invites more. If they have more words, that invites more words. And
My favorite words were, of course.
yeah,
Like when I started hearing that, it was like, I really had to like sit in that. Like, well, like instead of how could you, it
mm,
was like, of course.
yeah. And I think for me, what I heard a lot was, can you tell me more?
Mm,
Because I would say a phrase or a sentence and stop.
yeah.
So then the pause and then the, can you say more? Or I would like to hear more. And how many times I can remember my mind just spinning like more, more. How much more? What more? Right? Like I had more. Sometimes it was hard to access the more,
Yeah.
but there was so much more that I was afraid to say, and I needed the invitation.
5 years into the journey, and we're still going. We are showing up today with more capacity to be loved, more capacity to love, more freedom. I wake up differently 5 years down the road than I did 5 years ago. Does that mean I never have hard days or I get triggered? No. But what it does mean is I know the labor to heal from childhood trauma has been worth every tear. It's been worth every fear. It's been worth being misunderstood. I've lost relationship over my freaking healing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Of course, I'm sad. I'm human,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't change it.
Right.
What about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a journey, right? Of transformation. And I think, yeah, if I were to summarize 5 years, going into 5 years of this journey, I think love for sure, feeling alive. I feel more alive than I have felt before. And I have less anxiety in my body than I have had before. I ask for what I need in ways that I never could before. And I'm showing up differently in all aspects of life.
I got the last few of those, but my computer actually froze. So I hope I'll have to go back and hear everything that you said, but I already know it's good.
Okay, yeah, I got the little
Yeah.
indicator, yes, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I hope hopefully that all worked out. But so good to be on this journey with you. And there's no end date, right? We'll say that in our Pearls group. There's no reason to have an end date in the care that we receive and the care that we give, and that we recognize that it's a part of the beauty that has come from healing.
Right, because as long as we're human, we will continue to need,
Yeah.
and, like, there's so much blessing in that, right? Like, just that awareness that, "Hey, as long as I'm alive, I will need love and care and a friend, and also need and desire to give that."
Yeah, I want to say something before we close out here. So, we started this podcast a little over 2 years ago. Now, we had already experienced enough healing to where we were ready to process some things out loud, trauma out loud, and healing out loud. And yet, I'm noticing the confidence, not in that we're great. I mean, we are just two women showing up doing the work. We're not licensed. I guess in some respects we can be some experts if you're looking at ours, but the confidence of like, oh wait, no, like we know our own story. We now know the story of many other women, and I think we're showing up more assured that this isn't a fad. It's not a trend. Healing childhood trauma works and it's beautiful, and we advocate for it.
Yeah, and it never ends.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I love knowing that because it makes me feel okay about, okay, I'm still on the journey. We all are still on the journey. And I
Well,
love
I
that.
know. I mean, when I have moments where I get triggered or I feel like I've taken a step back, instead of going into shame and beating myself up, I'm like, ooh, yeah, it's more of an inventory of, I wonder, I think I'm just tired right now. I need a nap
Yeah.
or whatever that might be. And you're frozen. So I'm just going to close out the episode and see how this goes. Cher, love you. It was great to be with you today.
Great to be with you too, Candace. I love you too, friend.
Thank you for listening to Processing Trauma Out Loud. Make sure to check out the show notes for links to suggested resources and social media. Like, subscribe, and follow to keep up with our weekly content. And if you don't mind, take a moment to rate and review us. Your feedback is extremely valuable and contributes to the success of this podcast. One last thing. If you have found this podcast helpful in any way, or if you have questions on how to take the next steps on your healing journey, please reach out to us via email at KandaceSher@gmail.com. That's KandaceSher@gmail.com. Our sound engineer is Jeremiah Jones of Auditory LLC. We welcome you to join us for more conversations soon. Take care.